Greetings from HandsatWorkinAfrica to everyone. This is our last short video on the watchword for 2017. A gentle reminder of the watchword for 2017, that's from Romans 12. In the previous videos, we've dealt with the first part of this watchword. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. And today we're going to speak about share with God's people in need and practice hospitality. When I ask you to think of a picture, when we use the word hospitality, I think most of us will have a very similar kind of picture. Maybe something like you've been away for a few months from your home and you know they're expecting you and you're coming home and you're going to have that absolute welcome, your family, your friends. You're going to be received back and you're going to have a feast at the table and long discussions. Yes, we all know that warm feeling of having received hospitality by the people that we love. When I studied the word or the concept hospitality in the Bible, I was blown away just how radical concept hospitality really is in the Bible. Hospitality means to welcome, hostis, which is a Latin word for stranger. Practicing hospitality, according to the Bible, is risky business. We know that there's a risk in everything that's worthwhile. But to invite a stranger is risky. And in fact, it is as risky as it is when you start to trust or to love someone. The more you love someone, the more you show hospitality, the greater the risk. In fact, the Bible used the word stranger or foreigner when it refers to hospitality. The term should be used outside our circle of friends and family. In fact, the Greek word that speaks about hospitality is a love for strangers. In Leviticus 19, verse 33 and 34, we read, "If a foreigner lives in your land, do not exploit him. Love him as if he is a native. Love him and care for him." And then it says something very interesting. Remember, you were once a foreigner in Egypt. This is God, your God. There's something slightly mad about hospitality. And if we do not understand the deep meaning of the gospel of Jesus, it will make absolutely no sense for us. Like forgiveness, hospitality is a gift. A gift where you don't expect anything. It's an expenditure without expecting a return. Who knows better what hospitality is than Jesus himself? In this regard, he taught us, and he said, when you have a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your brothers, your neighbours, your family, or your rich neighbours. In fact, it's a rich neighbours. Because they might just invite you back and you received your payment in full. But rather invite the poor, the cripple, the lame, and the blind. Isn't this exactly what our care workers are doing when they reach out to the orphaned children in their communities? What incredible, unselfish love they show. And when you take their hands and you say, "We are together," that's exactly what you are doing. John, the disciple that Jesus deeply loved, wrote in 1 John 3, 16 verse 18. In fact, I want to read it to you. This is how we come to understand and experience love. Christ sacrificed his life for us. This is why we ought to live sacrificial lives to our fellow believers and not just to be out for ourselves. If you see your brother and sister in need and have the means to do something about it, but you turn a cold shoulder and do nothing, what happens to God's love? It disappears, and you made it disappear. My dear children, let's not talk about love. Let's practice real love. You know, there's something incredible about hospitality. Did you know that you can show hospitality to Jesus? Yes, there's a number of scriptures about that. But I want to take us to Revelation 3 verse 20. This is what Jesus said. I stand at the door and I knock. And if you dare to open up, invite me in, I will come in, sit down, and have a meal with you. Yes, when we look at the scriptures, it's clear that we've completely changed the real meaning of hospitality. It became a selfish, self-centered thing where we benefit from and where we do it most often for people that belong to us and that we love. Jesus taught us to do it different. The Good Samaritan practiced real hospitality. We are called to show hospitality all over the world where there's a need. God has given us this incredible gift to do that. And John taught us that we show hospitality because we first received hospitality. Our Father invited us into His house while we were still street children. What a fantastic picture of love is that. And that compels us to show hospitality, especially to those with no hope. I want to thank you for the way that you show hospitality to our children in Africa. As we are about to celebrate Christmas together, family, friends, brothers and sisters, we remember that incredible act of love when God became a baby. What a gift. What an incredible gift. Celebrate it, enjoy it, and may it compel you and stir your heart to show that same love to a very broken world around you. God bless.
Thank you for joining us. www.handsatwork.org